incredible career. Nick played both ends of the rink. I think what makes Nick so great is, he was a first-team All-Star defensively. He was a first-team All-Star offensively in every situation in the game. Late in the game, down by a goal. Late in the game, up by a goal. He was a guy that we looked to. Nick played the game with grace. A fierce competitor. I don't think Nick is so stoic you don't see it, but getting to a great card player. Those fireside chats we used to get into, I do a lot of talk, and I didn't hear much response. So I wasn't sure if I was getting through, but you obviously remember the fireside chats. Nick's been an incredible role model for our team, for our city, for all the young players, all the young Red Wings out there, and our team and our game is losing a tremendous ambassador today. I want to wish Annika, Nick, Kevin, Luke, Adam, Sam, the very best in your next chapter, and thank you for 20 incredible years.
We'll open it up for Q&A. Please raise your hand so we can get the microphone to you.
I'm Mats Larsson with the Swedish daily newspaper Expressen. I have a couple of questions from our readers who just sent in. What is your finest memory as a hockey player, and what would you tell all the fans that will now start begging you for a comeback?
My fondest memory, they're hard to choose from when you had a chance to win 4 Stanley Cups. I remember the first one very close because it happened here at the Joe. It happened with, I think we were up 2-0 in Game 4 against Philly, and they scored with 10 seconds left or something to make it 2-1, and it's a very tight game. You had a chance to win the Stanley Cup at home ice, and the puck goes down in our corner, and I'm out there with Vlad Konstantinov, and you're just hoping that you can keep the puck in the corner. He falls on it, and we're all just waiting for the buzzer to go, and that feeling when that buzzer goes, the arena went nuts, the crowd went nuts, the players went nuts. We've been waiting, the city's been waiting for some years for it, and that moment when you're winning it all, and all the players are hugging your goalie, we're all celebrating. That moment is something special. It happened on other occasions too. It happened in Washington. It happened here again in 2002. But I think the first one is special because it took us a long time to get there. We reached the finals in '95. I think we only lost 2 games going to the finals. We felt very good about ourselves going in, and then we lost 4 straight. And it's a big blow to the team when you feel you're up on such a high and you lose 4 straight games. We come back in the '95-'96 season. We have a record season, I believe, 62 wins that year, and we lose out to Colorado in the conference finals. So we're so close for 2 years, and then finally breaking out in '97, winning the cup, and then being able to match it the following year and winning it in '98. That's something that I probably cherish the most, that '97 win. As far as coming back, I feel very comfortable with my decision. Like I said earlier, I've needed to get away from the game for a few weeks to kind of let my body heal and not get too emotional about making a decision. But once Annika and I started talking, she even said that, if you want to play another year, we can make this work. So she wasn't pushing me to play, but she said she was all for it if I wanted to do it. So I think it took me another couple of weeks after that to realize that I don't have what I feel I have to play at my level. I don't want to lose that I want to say status, but that level of play that I've reached, and I think that's the main reason why I'm retired today.
Nick, do you plan to reunite the family in Sweden and move back there? And what do you think you'll do with your time, career-wise, if there's another thing you have in mind?
Yes, the plan is that we're going to move back to Sweden. We've always liked it here. That hasn't been the case. I've been here for 20 years, and 21 years actually, and this has become our second home, but we want to be close to our family. We have our parents, the kids' grandparents are getting older. We want to be close to our family. We've always been close to them, so we want to be close to them. As far as next career move, Kenny and I have had some discussions about the future, and I've told him that we'd like to remain with the organization somehow. We haven't really talked much past that, so that might be a question for Kenny, but it's been brought up in our discussions.
Nick, right down the center aisle here, Tom Light, WXYZ. Question about your legacy and how you view it. You'll go down as one of the greatest hockey players ever, but as you were on the ice for 20 years, what were you envisioning? What was your wish of what your legacy would be?
I got to leave that up to other people to decide. I'm very proud of what I've accomplished. I didn't set out goals to play 20 years, first of all. I first came over in 91 and I thought I was going to play a few years and kind of get a feel of the NHL. I had no other visions of what I was going to be doing, how long I was going to be doing this. But once you reach success, you want a taste of it again. And I think that goes for all the players that's been there before that had a chance to win something together. You battle for 6 months in the regular season to just get to the playoffs, and then you have 2 hard months of really playing with determination to reach the goal. So I think once you reach that goal, you want to get back there again. And that's been one of the things that's been driving me all these years. I never set up goals to win a Norris Trophy, for example. I've set up goals for myself to reach a certain level, and if that happened to win me a Norris, I would be very happy with it, but that's never been a goal of mine. So I think that the driving force has always been to play at my best, but to win at the end. Just have a chance to hoist that cup. Even this last summer we talked about maybe just one more time. I like to hoist that one more time. That's what's been driving me.
Rachel Lindsay from the Toledo Blade. Looking back on your career when you were working with younger players who came through the Detroit Red Wings system, what did you want to impress on those guys as far as sustaining their career and being contributors and being potential leaders?
Well, when I came in and joined the Wings, Steve Eisen was the captain. We had great players around him, but Stevie was our leader. And what I've learned from him over the years is his work ethic. He never took anything for granted. He worked hard, whether it's on the ice in practice or in the gym afterwards. And when you see a player like that, and one of the leaders and one of the best players in the world do that, it's easy for young guys to follow. So that's something that I try to do as well, that you try to work hard, you try to do things right, and good things will happen for you. I think that's been my message to the players, that work ethic is so important. If you don't have that, if you have all the skill in the world, you only got to get to a certain point. You're not going to get all the way. You might get lucky the odd time, but that work ethic along with that skill, that's what sets the players apart. And once you do that, determination comes into play. You keep doing it day after day, you become good at it, that determination takes over. You start to push yourself even more. So I try to be that player. I haven't been a real vocal leader. I've talked to guys kind of on the side, and of course I talk in the locker room as well, but I try to lead on the ice and by example. That's something I learned, especially from Stevie, and that's something I try to help the younger players with.
Nick, Matt Shepard, WDFN Radio. You talk about the impact the players of Red Wing lore have had on you, like Howe and Lindsay coming into the locker room. With no Steve Yzerman, with no Brendan Shanahan, with no Nick Lidstrom being around, does it concern you at all that future Red Wings won't have that same impact from Hall of Famers like you and some of you?
No, I'm not concerned about that, because we have those leaders in our room now that are emerging as leaders. You can look at a player like Zetterberg that I think he took over in the playoffs. He was our best player by far in the playoffs, and that determination really came out in the playoffs. He's one of the guys. Pav is another guy. We can go down to Cronwall, who emerged as a leader this season. He got awarded the A. I thought he stepped his game up, and he stepped his game up in the locker room too, where you don't see it as media as much, or fans don't see it, but in the locker room, players see that. Players recognize when someone does that. And those are players that's going to be very important to this team. So I've seen those guys emerge as leaders even before, this season, even heading into next year. Those guys are going to be the guys that that's got to be important to the team. We still have character guys like Cleary, Bertuzzi, some guys that's been part of the league for a long time and have that experience. When you have the top end players work hard and have that determination, that's gonna spread out, and the younger guys are gonna follow, and the other players are gonna follow as well.
Nick, just curious, when did it start to dawn on you that this might be it? Did the injury play a factor late in the season, and how much did you have to think about it once the season ended?
The injury didn't have anything to do with it. It did slow me down once I came back. I didn't feel like I came up to the standard I wanted to play, and I think that was part of it. The level of play in the playoff gets up a notch, and I don't think I responded well, but I think that injury slowed me down to where I couldn't play where I wanted to play. But having said that, that didn't sway me one way or the other. I think it, like I said, a couple of weeks after the season was over, you're starting thinking about, you start working out first of all. You start doing the things that you do to prepare for long summer workouts and summer with staying in shape. And once I started doing that, I felt that I didn't have that push that I know I need, that I've had in the past, that I've had going into last summer, for example, and that I knew I just didn't have that drive in me. And I knew that first of all, I can't cheat myself. I can't not work out as hard as I want to, do the things I know I have to do, and if I cheat myself and come back and not play at the level I want to play at, I think that's on me, and that's something I don't want to do. So that's why I decided to make this decision.
Nick, Woody Woodard from Fox 2 here in Detroit. You talk about your family, but talk about this team as a family. Does that make it that much harder today, knowing that these guys are basically a bunch of brothers in the same room?
Yeah, it does. You know, we joke about it. We almost spend more time with each other than with our wives. We're in the locker room almost daily. We travel together. We're going out for dinners, and so we're a very tight group. And I think that's something I got to miss, just that camaraderie that you have, whether it's in the locker room, whether you're on the road, you're going out for dinners. Just the camaraderie, I think I'm going to miss a lot. It's something special. I think it's hard to find that somewhere else, maybe in the I don't want to say real world, in the work world, where you might not have the same camaraderie, you're not hanging out as much as you do, so that's going to be hard. And we do have a great group of guys that you know, we take care of each other, we help each other, and I think that's what makes this group so special.
Mike Stone, 97 won the ticket. Nick, have you even thought about the possibility of pulling a Peter Forsberg, coming back halfway through the season or towards the playoffs if the team needs you, and as the alumni hit you up to be on the roster for the Winter Classic alumni game yet?
No, I haven't been approached by the alumni game, and I haven't even given it much thought, so that's something I haven't thought a whole lot about. I haven't thought about doing a half season either, where you try to come back halfway through the year. I feel very comfortable with my decision. Something I thought about for a couple of weeks now. Ken and I had our talk last week, and you know, he told me, give it the weekend, give it a long weekend, and you know, he got back to me a few days ago, and I said its decision is still the same. So I feel very comfortable with my decision.
Hey Nick, Jeff Rigger, 97 on the ticket. Just wondering, you talked about the moments and that were special to you. What about the accolades? You never talked about them when you were playing, but from the Norrises to the Conn Smythe to the gold medal, the cups, what meant the most to you?
First of all, I feel very fortunate to be able to be part of a lot of success with the Wings, with Team Sweep. I always take a lot of pride in wearing the yellow and blue jersey and representing your country. Getting a chance to win that Olympic gold in Italy was something special. You know, something that the whole country gets up for, and you know the whole country's is cheering for you. So getting a chance to win that was something special. My first Norris was special too. It was in 2001, and I remember Ray Bork was one of the nominees, and we were sitting there before the award show started, and he's telling me, "You're going to win this for landslide. You're going to win this easy. It's going to be yours for sure." And I'm looking at Ray Bork, and he's one of the players I looked up to over the years when he played in the 80s and the 90s, and he's telling me I'm going to beat him out and win the Norris. So the first one was special. you know, 02, that season was special too, just because of the team we had. We had a bunch of Hall of Famers and future Hall of Famers. We lost the first 2 games here at home against Vancouver, and the pressure was really on, but Stevie, being the great captain that he was, just came in and told us that, you know, just play with confidence. We're a good team. We know we're a good team. We just got to go out there and play with confidence. We won the next 4 games and went on to win the Stanley Cup that year. And I was awarded Conn Smythe and the Norris Trophy that season. So that season sticks out as well. 08 was special, being the captain and being handed the Stanley Cup for the commissioner, and getting a chance to be the first one to hand the cup to Mr. I, and being real proud about it. So it's hard to pick one over the other. I've been so fortunate that I've been part of so many things that it's hard to pick one or the other.
When they announced the Winter Classic, did that give you any pause at all to think about, oh, that many people and that big of a stage, just maybe one more year?
Sure, when you're there, when you're at the big house, you're walking out of the tunnel and you see the stadium, you see where the rink's going to be, and you can just imagine the feeling of walking out there in front of over 100,000 people. It's got to be special, but it wasn't big enough to sway me over to play another year. I think it's got to be special for the players that are going to be part of it. They're going to be so thrilled about getting a chance to play, first of all, in front of that big of a crowd, but kind of setting a milestone too, being part of something like that. But it did convince me to play another year.
Nick, we've heard ex-athletes have trouble filling the void, the competitive void, once they've retired. How will you fill that void? Do you have any idea?
Well, I do have 4 sons that are all playing hockey and doing other sports. I'm going to be busy taking my kids to different activities. I'm usually a quiet parent, sitting up in the stands and not screaming and yelling, but I'm sure when you're not playing yourself, it might change. So I know I got to be busy with the kids and helping out.
Nick, Ryan Field, Fox Sports Detroit, the captain C on the Red Wings jersey, such a big deal in this town for obvious reasons. Will you have a say in who becomes the next captain? Who do you think should be the next captain, and how much of a say do you want to have in that decision?
I might get asked about my opinion of it, but I think the coaching staff and management will find a very good captain for this team. I think there's a few candidates that are very fit to fill that role. I think Zetterberg has been a leader for a few years. Cronwell, I mentioned, emerged as a leader. I think Phil Polite is one of the players. I think there's a lot of leaders that don't wear necessarily a letter on their jersey, but they're leaders in our room. And I think one of those players will wear the C for sure.
Have you ever played kind of build up?
Oh yeah.
Somebody told me. So maybe they won't. You have to do anything?
Okay.
Good deal.
Copyright 2012, AmericaJR.com, Detroit, Michigan, USA.